All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, Terence Bud Crawford has allowed, or at least his promoters have, Gervonta Davis to put a battery in his back and charge a ridiculous amount of money for a pay-per-view that's coming up against Ismail Madmarov. And it makes people wonder, why are we paying for this at all? Seeing as all of the promises being made from the people that put on this fight was that this is what we weren't going to do anymore. And they have untold amounts of money for fights. So it begs the question, why is it on pay-per-view? Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound division where we have a good fight card coming up this weekend. We have a really good one coming up this weekend in the 147-pound division, but in 2 weeks, we have a big pay-per-view card being put on by the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, Terence Crawford, as he fights Ismail Madmarov. And there's a bunch of other fights on the undercard that makes it worth watching the fight. But man, that price tag is mighty, mighty high. $79.99. Not that I'm not used to paying for that, because I am. Pay-per-views have been the regular staple of my life for the last several years. Good that I have a boxing business because that makes it tax deductible for me. But yet and still, every once in a while, I'm taken back by the amount of money that people will charge for a card that really shouldn't be pay-per-view. In this particular instance, that's not what I'm tripping on. It's that I've been told that there's no reason to charge people for this card at all, because it is being put on by Turki Al-Sheikh, who has endless amounts of money to put on any fight that he wants. So it makes you wonder, why are you charging pay-per-views in the United States for this card if you don't need any money? But before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really makes a huge, huge difference to the channel. The PBC used to get a lot of criticism. The criticism would be from people that say, hey, you keep putting everything on pay-per-view. Some of these cards should not be pay-per-view. And that is a legitimate criticism that the PBC used to get. But we knew why the PBC was putting it on pay-per-view. Putting on these fights on pay-per-view because there's not a budget on HBO or on Showtime. On Showtime at the time that would allow some of these really big fights to get made. So they charged a pay-per-view, and that would allow the fighters to earn some extra money from whoever wanted to pay it, and then they would re-air it the next week. So it used to be that pay-per-views were to celebrate, basically like a celebration of one of the major fights where people are like, oh, hey, man, this is such a big fight. Let's charge people to watch it. But then there were a lot of other fights that were just on regular HBO, regular Showtime, or what have you. Well, that switched. But this particular fight with Terence Crawford and Ismail Madmarov is a bit of a funny situation, because we were told that Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudi Arabian government have all kind of money to put on fights where they can afford to pay people $100 million, $100 million purse for this guy, $100 million purse for that guy, $30 million purse for this guy, $50 million purse for that guy, right? Just outrageously large amount of money for fights being put on in Saudi Arabia. Well, then why is that not the case in the United States if Turki Al-Sheikh is putting on fights in the United States? Why are all the fights on DAZN, even the fights that were in Saudi Arabia, they've all been pay-per-view, all of them. I don't think any of them have been free. The Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, that was pay-per-view. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou was pay-per-view. The fights with that fight card with Deontay Wilder, where he fought Joseph Parker, that was pay-per-view. The one where Deontay Wilder fought Zhang, I do believe that was pay-per-view. Why? What's all the need for the pay-per-views on DAZN if Turki Al-Sheikh and those guys are not motivated by money? I would think you'd be motivated by the thrill of just growing the fight, but that's not what they do. That is not what their approach has been. Their approach is to charge Americans just as much money as anybody else is charging Americans for fights. Now, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna buy this fight. Without a doubt, I'm gonna buy this fight with Terence Crawford because I think that it is worth, it's not something I want to miss. Madmarov, I mean, it's somebody that not a lot of people have heard of, but shoot, I'll take the fight. I definitely want to see Isaac Cruz and Rayo Valenzuela. Definitely want to see Jared Anderson on the card. Want to see Jarrell Big Baby Miller and Andy Ruiz. There's a bunch of people that I want to see fight on that card. But none of the individual fights are so good that they in and of themselves would justify me spending my money on a pay-per-view for the fight. But I just think that people are getting away with it, are charging this money on these pay-per-views because they can get away with it. But there's not a lot of people that I would say, yeah, man, this is something that is really, this charge is based off demand. I haven't really heard very many people interested in or talking about Terence Crawford versus Madmarov or any of the other cards or any of the other undercards. I'm really happy though that at least it didn't hit Jaron Ennis, because Jaron Ennis is going to be fighting this weekend and will be fighting David Avanesyan, and at least that fight's not pay-per-view. Terence Crawford's fight with David Avanesyan was pay-per-view. I think Terence Crawford's been pay-per-view for the last several fights, one of which really should have been. The one before, the Errol Spence, obviously should have been. This one I'm not so sure about, to tell you the truth. I'm just very, very much wondering what is the deal with this? You have all this money in the world, but you're still putting stuff, yet they still want to put stuff on pay-per-view. I'm going to buy it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it brings a lot of really good fights in the 154-pound division. There's going to be on DAZN, or I think it's going to be on ESPN Plus and DAZN. So it's kind of like even the distribution on it is kind of weird. Must be in Europe, it's going to be shown on DAZN and ESPN Plus in America. Not sure. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Looking forward to the fights, not looking forward to paying on it. And Gervonta got a battery in his back because, man, look, dude, Gervonta's really the one. And Canelo Alvarez, those are probably about the only two dudes that really should be putting stuff on pay-per-view. But that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.